Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. I'm here as always, my good friend Dan Wiseman. Dan, Jhon Duran has signed for Aston Villa from Chicago Fire. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. This is a surprise. Normally we get a bit of notice, and I've literally come in on completely blind here, mate. No notes. I watch a bit of MLS, not a lot of Chicago Fire. And so I think a lot of Villa fans are Googling this guy at the moment, and I can't imagine there's been as much interest in this guy as there has been in the last 20 minutes since this was announced. But I'm all here for it, mate. We were just saying the other day how we wanted to go to source a little bit more, pick out the prospects from where they were budding through without the middleman, cut out those big fees and everything like that. And it looks like we've done that.
It does, mate. This is an exciting one because it was spoken about probably about 3 weeks ago, and it went radio silent since then. And Dan and I at the time just didn't have time to cover it because it was sort of during the World Cup. Obviously, you guys know we both work full time within the sports industry, so like it's hard enough just getting us together to do these podcasts in any case. But when Jhon Duran came up, we had to unfortunately pass up on it. So we're not as well versed. One thing I will say is um, Neil from the Liverpool McGrath podcast did a really good deep dive on him. So go and check that out. I would implore you guys. I mean, if you've heard of us, you've definitely heard of Neil, because I mean Neil's got a fantastic podcast. So check that out. But we'll talk more about the journey of Jhon Duran here and why I think this is going to be a really good sign. And mate, standing tall at 6'1", obviously from Colombia, started his career out at Envigado, where he made 45 appearances and scored 9 goals. As a result of that, he earned himself a transfer to Chicago Fire in Major League Soccer, where he transferred for, I believe it was 1.8 million euros. Now, transfer market currently have him valued at 6 million euros. I saw some reports, so I think it's from ESPN Africa. I could have got it wrong when I was just doing a quick Google. They're saying we've paid $16 million to acquire this guy. So that probably works out to about £12 million. At 19 years of age, born in 2003. That is, again, we're talking about players that are like 4 years younger than us now, mate, who Villa are signing. It makes me feel sick. But, in his time at MLS, he made 27 appearances and scored 8 goals. Obviously, being Colombian, there's some pedigree in the blood there. They've had some brilliant players over the years, from the likes of Ramadel Falcao to more recently Luis Diaz, Carlos Valderrama, a bit of a throwback. James Rodriguez, how could you forget about the Golden Boot winner from the 2014 World Cup? So this is an exciting one, and I feel like I mention it every time we sign a player from one of these sort of more exotic nations, footballing nations specifically as well. And it gets me really buzzing. Like I find it mad that we have two Argentinians on the pitch and two Brazilians on the pitch for us at any given time, mate. Throw a Colombian in that mix, and wow, that is impressive. A nice little Spanish contingency that we're sort of organising at the club, really, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, mate. It'd be really interesting to see what the plan is for him, whether there's sort of any immediate loan or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, on the fee, I've just been doing it, and Pipe Sierra, who's a Colombian journalist, is saying this could be as high as $18 million plus another 10 in potential bonuses. So apparently this could go all the way up to 28 million,
Wow.
according to some sources. So that's pretty crazy. And we're paying big money for this guy. It's crazy. I mean, when you look at what he was doing in Envigado, considering he's only is he, what 20 now? Am I right in saying he
Uh,
must?
oh yeah,
He
he
would have
will be
been.
because his birthday was in December. He should be 20 now. Wikipedia is wrong.
Yeah. Yes. So I think that makes him 20 years old, or just under. And obviously he was playing for Envigado in 2019, so he was scoring goals for them as a 16-year-old, before he's earned that move to Chicago Fire. He's obviously been playing under Wayne Rooney, who's the current gaffer there. He was named in the Guardian's 60 best talents in world football back in 2020. And he only signed for Chicago Fire in January of last year. So he's made an immediate impression in there, made his debut at the end of the following February, scored his first goal in the May. And ever since then, it seems to have been an upward trajectory, which has landed him sort of on the radar of a few different clubs, certainly of his international side as well. He made his debut for Colombia, that in that same year, the later on in September, replacing one of the names you mentioned, mate, Radamel Falcao at half time. So he's certainly an exciting prospect. He's one that I don't think too many names we'll know much about. But that's what's exciting. That's what's exciting. And we've been really wishing the club to do this. And I think a lot of Premier League clubs have woken up to the fact that you can make a lot more money if you cut out the middleman. I mean, we spoke about when Chelsea were looking at Enzo Fernandez, and the fact that in 6 months at Benfica, his transfer value, I think he joined for about 16 million from River Plate, has gone up like 700% or whatever it is. There's real money to be found by doing this, and it's really excited. And I'm really eager to learn a bit more about the next step. As I said, like what our plans are for him. Sometimes you see with deals like this, they're loaned immediately back to the club that we've bought them from. From what I can see, we haven't done that yet. But it'd be interesting to see what the next step is, because perhaps he is coming into being and around the first team. You know, we've been speaking for a while about how we've been in need for a striker, but it'll be interesting to see what the plan is for him.
It is, mate. It is. I think Rooney's at DC, but I think there's a link with the Chicago manager and the DC manager. But what's interesting,
of course, yes, I got that wrong, didn't I?
It's all good. It happens to all of us, man. It happens to all of us. I believed you though. I believed you. I'm gonna have to Google it. But that's the thing though, mate. Like as you say, go into source. Let's get that talent immediately instead of waiting and overpaying a Brighton or a Brentford, as we've done so many times in recent years. I think the outlay to Brentford over the past sort of 5 years has been £75 million in terms of managerial compensation for Dean Smith, and then transfers and players as well. Let's make that money ourselves. That's what we're here to do. You know, it's an exciting one, mate, because you know at 6'1", he's going to be a bit more of a physical presence than Ollie. He can play on the left. He can play down the middle. He's left-footed. And as you said, mate, he's been capped by Colombia's men's team 3 times already. Also playing for the under-17s twice as well. So it's really exciting. In October 2020, he was apparently included in the Guardian's 60 best young talents in world football list. So that's at like 18, 17 years old. And he's not actually been at Chicago for a very long time, to be honest, mate, looking at it. Made his debut against Inter Miami in February 2020, scored his first goal on the 14th of May against FC Cincinnati. And now we're here on the 16th of January, and he's an Aston Villa player. He's potentially playing in the Premier League. So it's a fantastic story. It's something that, again, we're going to have to wait and see how this develops. There's not a lot on this guy that Dan and I currently know. So as I said at the top, make sure you check out Neil's podcast, Liverpool McGrath, really good podcast. If you want to know a little bit more about him. But yeah, it's exciting. I think what excites me about this as well, mate, is MLS is a very transitional league, and that's exactly how we're trying to play, you know? So I think if we can find players like Jhon, where he can sort of play on the shoulder, ready for that sort of long sweeping ball over the top that he's going to have to hunt down, it sounds like it could be a dream, a match made in heaven. And, I was trying to find this statement because I'm not logged into my Twitter account on my laptop. So it would have been obviously easier if I was, because I could just go to the thing. But so I typed in Duran Aston Villa, and the top thing that came up was a Duran concert at Villa Park a couple of years back. It's not even made the search. It's not even broke the top search. So maybe his name's Rio and he's dancing in the sand, but we'll have to see about that, mate. There has to be some that. Maybe he's hungry like the wolf for action in the Premier League.
Stop it! Stop it!
Cancel this podcast right now. But yeah, guys, love to know what you guys have to say on this. If there's any Colombians in the comments, let us know, or any MLS or Chicago Fire fans. Dan and I'd love to hear about this. And when we know more, we'll tell you more about this guy. This is exciting. And yeah, as ever, I mean, Villa didn't say it was an undisclosed fee, but I kind of made a sarcastic.
Well, what's crazy is that it's not even like, it's like we've agreed terms, but we haven't agreed personal terms. He's not done a medical yet either. Like the club statement is, we've just agreed a fee. So yeah, it's interesting that we've announced it at all, really.
I mean, we did this with Coutinho though, didn't we? It was like, yes, we've agreed a deal to sign Coutinho, and we all lost our mind, and then it happened. So maybe this is how I think if you do this though, you kind of like you take the news away from like us and from the media outlets, and in terms of controlling the narrative, I guess it makes sense from Villa's perspective. But no, mate, I'm buzzing about this one. Hopefully, Jhon can offer something different, and yeah, hopefully can score a few goals for Villa. This is a really exciting deal. So if you, as I say, if you guys know any more about him than we do, please feel free to let us know in the comments. Let's get a good discussion going. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on TikTok and Instagram. TikTok is at Heart of the Holte. Instagram is at VillaPod. And subscribe if you're not already. We're nearly at 11K. That is mental. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, up the Villa.